You're watching another True Villain commentary.
Alright everybody, it's True Villain, welcome back. And today we gotta talk about this TDawg tweet, because this was 100% rage bait. Like, not maybe, not possibly, not I think he was trolling a little bit. No, this was rage bait. Clean, obvious, textbook rage bait. And I know rage bait when I see it, because I literally did it myself recently. I used AI, baited a YouTuber into making 2 whole videos about my channel, and he was losing his mind over basically nothing. The funniest part was his own viewers started turning on him in the comments, calling him out for doing the exact same thing he was crying about, and pointing out that his videos were no different than everybody else making the same kind of content. So trust me, I know what bait looks like. And this right here, this is bait. That's all it is. But even if it is bait, it still says something bigger about where Call of Duty is right now, because the reaction he got tells you everything. So the tweet basically comes out saying Arc Raiders is dead, Fortnite is dead, Battlefield is dead, Halo is dead, and Call of Duty is alive and well. That's the claim. Big, loud, stupid, on purpose, meant to get people mad, meant to farm replies, meant to get screenshots flying around, and it worked. He got the reactions. But the reason he got cooked so hard is because people are just not buying that version of reality anymore. That's the real story here. Because if you want to say Call of Duty is still the biggest shooter brand overall, or that COD still has unmatched name value, or that it still dominates conversation during launch windows, okay, you can at least make that argument. But saying everything else is dead while COD is alive and well in the middle of one of the weakest 5 periods this franchise has had in years, that is why people jumped on it. And the replies he got are actually the best part, because they exposed exactly where the claim falls apart. One lane of replies was basically, bro, what are you even talking about? Arc Raiders is putting up way stronger Steam numbers than COD right now. And on that point, the public Steam data really does cut against the tweet. At the time of checking, Arc Raiders was sitting well above 100,000 current players on Steam, while the main Call of Duty app on Steam was around 30,000 current players, and Modern Warfare 2019 on Steam was only in the low thousands live with a 2-4 hour peak under 5,000. That does not mean COD is dead overall, because COD obviously lives across console, battle.net, and other ecosystems too, but it absolutely means the Arc Raiders is dead while COD is thriving. Line does not hold up if you're looking at the public PC numbers people were posting back at him. And then the funniest part is how the goalposts immediately moved, because once people started posting those Steam charts, the response became, bro, no one plays COD on Steam. Okay, then why are you talking like the original statement was this broad, obvious truth? That's the problem. If your original claim is Call of Duty is alive and well as this big sweeping statement, you cannot then turn around and dismiss the most public player count numbers people respond with by saying that platform does not count. Either we are talking about publicly visible engagement, or we are not. You do not get to make the loudest possible claim and then hide behind wrong platform the second people push back. That's what made this feel so cheap, and people noticed that immediately. Another lane of replies brought up something even worse for the argument. Black Ops 7 had Call of Duty's worst year-end sales ranking in the US since 2008. That is not just random Twitter doom posting. That was reported publicly, including by GameSpot based on Circana sales coverage. So, if you are trying to tell people COD is cruising and alive and well like nothing is wrong, that sales context matters. Black Ops 7 did not perform like a healthy franchise at full strength. It finished the year worse than any COD since World at War in 2008. That is not me hating. That is not anti-COD nonsense. That is literally the current reality around the brand's performance. And honestly, that's why this tweet blew up the way it did. Because it came off like forced positivity in a moment where the franchise clearly has problems. That doesn't mean COD is dead. I'm not saying that. Call of Duty is still too big, too established, too embedded in gaming culture to just call dead because one title underperformed and the community is miserable. That would be fake dramatic nonsense too. But not dead and alive and well are not the same thing. That distinction matters. Because when people hear alive and well, they think healthy player sentiment. They think strong momentum. They think sales are solid. They think hype is solid. They think the franchise feels respected again. They think the audience is energized. Does that sound like Call of Duty right now? No. What COD feels like right now is huge but tired, big but shaky, still relevant but nowhere near as culturally confident as it used to be. Still able to move numbers in certain areas, but clearly not in some golden state where everything is working and the community is thriving. And that's why some of the other replies hit too. You had people basically saying, if COD is so alive and well, why does it feel like nobody cares anymore? You had people clowning the views, clowning the idea that COD content is still some untouchable gold mine, clowning the overall narrative that this franchise is in great shape. And while some of that was people just piling on because the tweet was dumb, some of it also came from a real place. People are tired of Call of Duty creators pretending the brand is healthier than it actually is just because the name is still huge. That's the deeper issue. COD has reached this weird point where the brand power is still enormous, but the goodwill is nowhere near where it needs to be. That means you can still say Call of Duty and get attention. You can still say Modern Warfare 4 and people will look. You can still get discussion, reactions, arguments, clicks. But underneath that, the trust is weaker. The excitement is weaker. The community patience is weaker. So if you tweet out alive and well while ignoring all of that, yeah, people are going to light you up. And then you had the Fortnite angle too. One of the replies basically laughed at the idea that Fortnite of all games could be called dead when it still dwarfs almost everything in public player activity. And that's another reason this tweet felt unserious. You can bait people without saying stuff that is instantly disprovable. Once you start calling games like Fortnite dead, you're not making a real argument anymore. You're just throwing gas on the timeline and waiting for the fire, which again is the whole point of ragebait. So when I look at this whole thing, my response is pretty simple. TDawg did what ragebait is designed to do. He posted something stupid enough to farm replies, and it worked. But the reason the backlash hit so hard is because he picked the wrong moment to act like COD is in some perfect place. It isn't. Public Steam numbers don't support the everything else is dead angle. Recent sales reporting definitely doesn't support the alive and well angle. And the community mood sure doesn't support it either. The more honest take is this. Call of Duty is not dead, but it is also not well. And it's still huge. It is still relevant. it still has the biggest shooter name advantage in the market. But it is also coming off underwhelming sales, low trust, franchise fatigue, and some of the weakest community energy it has had in years. That is the real conversation people should be having. Not COD is dead. Not COD is perfect. Not everything else is dead. Just the truth. The truth is the brand is still standing because it's Call of Duty. But if Activision and Infinity Ward do not actually give players something to believe in with the next game, then the gap between brand strength and community belief is going to keep getting wider. And that's why these bait tweets are funny for about 5 seconds, but then they accidentally reveal something real. The audience is way more skeptical now, way less willing to clap just because someone says COD is back. They want proof, they want results, they want a reason to care again. And until Call of Duty actually gives them that, tweets like this are gonna keep getting cooked. If you've got thoughts on whether COD is actually healthy right now or just surviving off the power of the name, drop it in the comments. And if you're new around here, subscribe. See you guys in the next video.